afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Nutmeg Sports. It's Tuesday afternoon right here on the HAN Network. I'm willing you down to for Tuesday afternoon where you're watching as well. I'm Rob Adams. Donald Eng with the week off. Dave Stewart with us tomorrow. So just you and I for the next 30 minutes as we chat about things going on. I thought today was a good day. I thought we'd have time to do this yesterday, but I figured today is a day to catch up on the state polls as well as kind of the FCAC playoff picture, as we're very close to getting into the playoffs. And of course, the playoffs will almost all be seen right here on the HAN Network. A few conflicts in the mix as well, but we'll do as much as we can with quarterfinals and semifinals and championships. So a busy couple of weeks coming up. We were talking about it, in fact, before the show today. 8 games next week in a span basically from Tuesday until Saturday. So it's going to be a lot of fun and a lot of games to look at. So let's get it started. I figured we'll start in boys basketball. It's just a page that's up on the screen, so it works for me. Beginning in the FCAC, excuse me, right now, Danbury and Trumbull are the top 2 seeds, and they're both assured playoff spots. They have clinched. Stamford at 10-2 is right on the fringe of making it in as well. So those are your top 3 teams, as you can see. Ridgefield in pretty good shape at 8-5, as is Fairfield Ward. And then you've got this 3-way tie of Ludlow, West Hill, and Wilton, and losses for the Greenwich Cardinals and bad losses. The loss to Danbury as they blew a fairly big lead late last Friday night, and then the loss yesterday at the hands of Fairfield Ludlow. So the Cardinals in a little bit of a spin right now and a little bit of trouble for them. They're at 7-6, sitting in 9th place. Top 8 will get in, of course. So there's where you sit right there. But again, there's still time to work with in the FCAC in terms of the schedule. In fact, as we look at today's schedule, for instance, it's amazing to me the FCAC championship rematch is today on the boys' side, in that Norwalk and West Hill meet tonight at 7 o'clock. And so is the nature of high school sports. You know, now that game is not exactly the marquee game that it was at one time. Norwalk out of the playoff picture entirely. They sit at 3-9, 4-12 overall. The Vikings can be in the mix and are close to being in the mix. As we said, they're in that tie for 6th place right now in the FCAC. There's 10-6 overall, so they're a state team, and they're 7-5 as well. We still hope to see the Vikings this season. We have yet to see them so far. Ward and St. Joseph, Trinity Catholic and Darien Central and Kennedy, the other games on the Tuesday docket. And you know, you think about that Ward-St. Joseph game, again for St. Joe's, 6-9, 4-8, tougher season for them. But for Ward, they can continue to make their own playoff case. 8-5, as we mentioned, 10-7 overall. So a lot of teams will make it into the state tournament, but of course there's only 8 that can get into the FCAC. You know, Danbury's a state playoff team, as in Trumbull, Stamford, West Hill. They're all in good shape. Ward, Ludlow, Wilton, McMahon, all in good shape, as is Trinity at 8-8. So Ridgefield at 9-8. And Greenwich at 9-7, with Staples at 7-10, right on the verge of punching their ticket as well. So some teams can still do it. You know, St. Joseph at 6-9, 8 generally the magic number. Of course, there have been some changes in the CIAC this year. Darien a little more work to do at 5-10. And then the amazing story to me, and look, we're not knocking anybody when we say this. It's just so, you know, stark the way this has happened. 2 years ago, Bridgeport Central won the FCAC championship, and they beat Greenwich that night, and then they went on and beat Fairfield Prep for the state championship in Class LL. Big year for Barry McLeod and the Bridgeport Central Hilltoppers just 2 years ago. This year, they are 0-16, 0-13 in the FCAC, so it just goes to show things happen, and thus is the nature of high school sports in total. Now, over at the Game Time CT poll, we figured we would have a little fun talking about that and catch you up in boys basketball. We'll go 10-1 as Danbury dropped out. So right now, the FCAC is not represented in the boys basketball poll, and I'm not sure they should be right now. You know, we had said all along, and this dates back to Dave Rudin and I talking way back at Thanksgiving Day when we were beginning to get ready for the Turkey Bowl at that time. He and I were also talking about the basketball season coming up, and we both said what a wild season we thought it would be, and it has played out this way. So no FCAC team right now in the top 10, and I have a hard time believing, unless someone gets on a big roll, I'm not sure there's a team that's going to make it very far in the States. It's been that kind of year. Now, we're not wishing for that, of course. We, like all the teams and we wish them all well, but it's just hard to see that one team. I thought maybe it was Danbury, but, their style just might not speak to being a state playoff team and going far. We'll see. Somebody could get hot, though, and that's the beauty of the tournament. East Catholic is number 10. They dropped down from number 9 from last week as they lost to East Hartford 61-54 last week. Crosby is at number 9, down from number 7. They lost to Sacred Heart by 25, 91-66, but they also defeated Kennedy as well, 86-82. At number 8, with no change, Middletown. The Blue Dragons now have won 14 straight on the year. They are 14-2 to be exact. Number 7 is Wilbur Cross at 15-2. The Governors sit there with a week in which they defeated North Haven, New Britain, Hand, and East Haven up a spot from number 8. This, of course, the Game Time CT poll, and it's compiled by Joe Morelli, of course. To number 6, it's Fairfield Prep, and they stay right there at number 6, having defeated Cheshire and Notre Dame of West Haven. They've also clinched their 5th straight SCC Quinnipiac Division title. At number 5 is the Weaver Beavers. They stay at number 5. They had Shaylin Martin with 19 points and 11 rebounds against Northwest Catholic, who they defeated 91-63. They also defeated Conard 101-34. To number 4 and staying at number 4. And the top 4 will stay the same, in fact. Hillhouse is the number 4 team. The Academics outscored Career 27-9 in last week's win. They beat them overall 78-52. Staying at number 3 is Newington. They defeated Maloney and Platt last week. Windsor is number 2, 17-0 on the year, defeating Hall and Simsbury. And that's going to make you say, when the number 1 team is Sacred Heart, and they're 16-2 on the year, you're going to say, well, hold on now. Windsor's 17-0. Go take a look at the strength of schedule. Sacred Heart has played some pretty mean teams along the way, and they defeated both Crosby and Wilby last week. So there's your basketball Game Time CT on the boys' side. We will head over now and look at the girls' side of things here. And, the girls' standings have kind of shifted around as well. We saw a little bit of a sea change last week with Stamford beating Ward, handing Ward their first loss of the year. Trumbull now the number 1 seed in the FCAC at 14-1 with some games to be played. Ward at 13-1, Stamford 13-2 as you see, and then you got Ridgefield, Greenwich, and Ludlow. So you have to feel pretty comfortable overall that the top 7 are set, and as you can see, they have all clinched playoff spots. It's that 8, 9, and 10 where it gets fun. You got St. Joe's at 8-6, Norwalk at 7-7, and Darien at 6-8. So as you look at the schedule, for instance, St. Joseph with a pretty big game against Ward. So there's that 8 seed taking on the number 2 seed. That's tonight. That's a fairly big game all of a sudden. Ward's still, in theory, a better team, but the Cadets are pretty good. We saw them earlier this year when they took on Trumbull. Big game for St. Joseph, though, and they can really put themselves in good shape with that win to get to 9-6 on the year. We will see what happens there. The other games on the girls' docket tonight, you got Darien and Trinity Catholic. Now, Trinity has struggled this year mightily, 1-13, 3-15 overall. But for the Blue Wave, they have had, as we said, a solid year. 9-9, a playoff team, 6-8 in the FCAC. They've got some work to do in the FCAC. And the other team that you want to keep an eye on, of course, is Norwalk at 7-7. Norwalk has a 3 p.m. game today against West Hill. They are 7-7, as I said, 8-10 in the FCAC. Good matchup in that West Hill is 6-11 overall, 5-10 in the conference. So 3 interesting games on the docket today in girls basketball. As for, and let me just give you very quickly, because I don't want to leave this out because I did it for the boys as well. Your playoff teams in the state, certainly Trumbull at 17-2, Stanford 16-2, Ridgefield is 14-5, Greenwich is 14-3. Beyond that, Staples is 7-12, so they have a pretty solid chance. Danbury and West Hill both have 6 wins on the year. They have obviously fading hopes at this point as they're right up against the end of their season. Ward 16-2, Ludlow, Wilton, St. Joseph, all in. Norwalk at 8-10, Darien, beg your pardon, at 9-9. So the FCIAC will be represented. And on the girls' side, they can go a little farther, I think, than the boys can. Again, there's always that team that can get hot, and will they? I don't know. On the girls' side, there are some teams that I think you'd have a little more faith in. From 10-1 we go. We start with Enfield at number 10 in the game time poll. This one compiled by Mike Pucci. And Enfield at number 10, the Raiders coming off victories against Suffield, East Granby, and Granby, and they were not ranked last week. Number 9 jumping in is the Stamford Black Knights, 16-2 on the year, beat up on Wilton pretty good. They beat Bridgeport Central 54-17 and then got that 8-point win over Fairfield Ward 59-51. Their only losses on the year to Greenwich and Ridgefield. Those aren't losses that you can really kind of hold against them. Greenwich and Ridgefield both very good. So the Black Knights at number 9. At number 8 are the Trumbull Eagles. They come up a notch, having defeated Central and Trinity Catholic. We move on to Fairfield Ward. Sitting at number 7, they dropped 2 spots from number 5. They knocked off McMahon and Ludlow last week, but the loss to Stamford certainly hurts. They had a 16-game winning streak. Norwich Free Academy is at number 8, having popped up 2 from, they're up to 6, popping up 2 from number 8. The Wildcats getting victories against South Windsor and Bacon Academy. To number 5, New Fairfield comes up 1 as the Rebels host Notre Dame of Fairfield on Tuesday night to end the season. Cromwell stays at number 4 as the top 4 stay the same. The Panthers host Morgan Monday, so that was last night at 7. Number 3 is New London. They defeated Stonington, Waterford, and Montville. Number 2, Mercy. The Tigers stay at number 2, and number 1, Capital Prep, 16-3 on the year. But again, strength of schedule. Consider who they played on the year. I know Mercy is 18-1, but Capital Prep 16-3 on the year. So, and by the way, a little note, and again, reading from Game Time CT, Desiree Elmore, the senior, was the 19th girl in CIAC history to eclipse 2,000 career points, so congratulations to her. We have to get to hockey and some other goodies as well as we move you along on a Tuesday edition of Nutmeg Sports. Also got to talk about the upcoming schedule. Meant to do that yesterday, but again, lots to do with our upcoming broadcast schedule. We'll get to all that and more. Eric Gendron directing across the way. We're back right after this with Nutmeg Sports on the HAN Network.
Here at the Darien Sports Shop, we are very excited about our newly redesigned men's department. Gentlemen, if you're shopping for work, weekend, or wedding, we've got the latest styles and trends inside our spacious new department just for you. We have vast selections from Peter Millar, Vineyard Vines, Johnny O, Duckhead, Barber, and so much more. And you can even walk out of the store in the new Wolverine 1,000-mile men's boot. Conveniently located with free and easy parking at 1127 Post Road, Darien, Connecticut, or shop us online at dariensport.com.
While there's still a bite out on the water, most anglers have decided to stow the gear for the winter. Just because Mother Nature isn't cooperating doesn't mean you can't see the latest models of all your favorite gear. With 2 convenient locations, it couldn't be easier to get your fix of summer. Boater, beach bum, fisherman, or simply love the New England coast, this is a unique place to shop. The Dock Shop, 51 Tokenique Road, Darien, 609 Riverside Avenue, Westport, or on the web, dockshop.com.
I'm Kate Chaplinsky. Join us for Coffee Break weekdays at 11 to get the latest Connecticut news, weather, high school sports, and more. News doesn't get any more local than on Coffee Break on the HAN Network.
You are watching the HAN Network, and you're not alone. Nearly 500,000 viewers enjoyed our broadcasts in the first 5 months. Advertise on the network that reaches Fairfield County, Connecticut's most engaged audience. Contact Jessica Murrin, Advertising Director, at 203-273-7312 or email jessica@han.network.
Welcome back to Nutmeg Sports on the HAN Network. In girls hockey, you can pretty much, well, the FCAC playoffs are already set because they go straight to semifinals. Greenwich Fairfield Co-op, the Trumbull St. Joe's Co-op, and Wilton Norwalk McMahon will all have to watch. Unfortunately for the Greenwich Cardinals, they finished 2 games back, but I can't say there are many surprises here. Stanford West Hill Staples has been that 4th team all along. They finish at 8-6 on the regular season. Ridgefield at 9-5, New Canaan 12-2, Darien 14-0. It's going to be a lot to do for anyone to knock off the Blue Wave. Now, New Canaan can do it when they're on their game, but of course, that won't happen until we're into the final. If things obviously stay the way that they look, that's your 1-2 matchup, and New Canaan and Darien would both have to punch their tickets to the finale. Darien only with 1 loss on the year, and we've seen the Blue Wave play a couple of times. They're really good. New Canaan very good as well. So it would make for a heck of a matchup, but that's why Ridgefield and Stanford West Hill Staples are there. They are there to break up the party. By the way, congratulations to Rich Buellin, the head girls ice hockey coach at New Canaan. Win number 435 yesterday as the Rams beat Greenwich 2-0, but win number 300 at New Canaan for Coach Buellin. In fact, looking forward, hopefully, to having him on the program tomorrow. So that's where we sit there. And again, Darien just keeps rolling along at 19-1 and 14-0. But it does set up not only for a good FCAC run, but then a good state run for these teams as well. And they have their championship Saturday night, March 5th at 8 o'clock, and that is out at the Edward L. Bennett rink this year. So that's where the championship will be. Let's switch gears over now and go to boys ice hockey. And really things there, you know, it's all over the place. We know some things, but we don't know everything. You're comfortable with Greenwich getting in, and the Fairfield Co-op, and Darien, obviously, and New Canaan. The top 6 will get in. Ridgefield with a big win yesterday, but a non-conference win, so it didn't really help them as much as you might think. They're now 8-7-1 overall. St. Joseph at 4-4-0. That's where things get messy, and I've got Dave Stewart eye-chatting me right now. So you want to know what he thinks? Let me tell you. As he says, and I'm quoting Dave, it's a real mess in the 3-6 right now. Fairfield might be 3, and if it ends up in a 3-way tie with St. Joe, Ridgefield, and New Canaan, this is where you get the abacus out. St. Joe would get the number 4 based on the win over Greenwich. Ridgefield would be 5 and New Canaan 6 on head-to-head. And the number 1 and 2 seeds likely come down to tomorrow's Darien Greenwich game. We have that Darien Greenwich game for you tomorrow at 4 o'clock here on the HAN Network. Looking forward to that one at the Darien Ice Rink. Of course, it was supposed to be yesterday. Now it will be tomorrow at 4 o'clock due to the weather. But that's the thing. Despite Greenwich kind of tripping over themselves at times, and they're 13-4 overall, they're still only 7-1 in the FCAC. Now, Darien at 8-0, 14-2 otherwise on the year, including a loss last week to a very good Don Bosco, New Jersey team. So all of a sudden, tomorrow's game does have some meaning to it. Who's going to be the number 1 seed going into the FCAC playoffs? And I think those playoffs are going to be fascinating. I already gave you the situation from Dave as to why 3-6 will get kind of fun. And Dave will be here tomorrow, and we can talk a little more about that then. But it's, you know, it's right there for the taking. Let us switch gears and stay in hockey, but let us head over to the power rankings, the Power 5 from CTHS Hockey Scores, who does such a remarkable job with all of this. And we'll start in Division 1. On the bubble sits SGWL, Simsbury, Notre Dame of Fairfield, and Glastonbury. But at number 5 is that Northwest Catholic team that, again, being down here, we don't get the sense of how good Northwest Catholic is. The rest of the top 4 you got a pretty good sense of. Number 4 would be the Greenwich Cardinals. Now again, they have stumbled a little bit of late. So where do they sit as this week's rankings come out? That'd be something to think about. Number 3, the Xavier Falcons. They are having a good season. To me, they might even be, I mean, that's where it gets tough to me. 3, 2, 1 gets tougher to me. 2 is Darien. 1 is Notre Dame of West Haven, and I think you got to drop Darien just a hair due to that loss last week to Don Bosco. But Notre Dame of West Haven losing to Ridgefield is going to hurt them in the long run. So you see how this all shakes out. I tend to wonder if Xavier doesn't jump over everybody up to the number 1 spot. Very interesting. Division One's going to be a lot of fun. I'm telling you, I might even get myself a credential and go out and watch when they all get settled in at Ingalls Rink, because it's just too much fun to watch that. Division 2, North Haven, Guilford, and Cheshire all are on the bubble. This is from CT Hockey Scores and his wonderful rankings that he does. Number 5, Daniel Hand. Number 4 is Conard. Number 3, South Windsor. There at number 2 sits Fairfield. And number 1 is North Branford. Now, Fairfield, to me, can be number 2. They can be number 1. I don't think it's a crime to have them at number 2. We've seen them, again, stub their toe a little bit as they try to play against the bigger competition like a Darien, but they can play Greenwich, and they can beat Greenwich, so there you got to think of that. On to Division 3, Hall, Southington, and Newtown sit on the bubble, but at number 5 is that Lyman Hall, Haddam, Killingworth, Coggeshall team, with Staples West and Shelton at number 4, Woodstock Academy at number 3, and there at number 2, the Stamford Co-op with NFI, that's New Fairfield Immaculate, in the number 1 slot. Stamford has done a nice job. Stamford has reminded people that the city of Stamford can be a hockey town. I know you're more inclined to often think of them in terms of basketball, and there was plenty of basketball success there. It's a great baseball town. We haven't seen it be a great football town in a while, but it is a great sports city, and I don't think it gets the respect for being a hockey town, but it really is more so than people know. Trinity Catholic a little down this year, but certainly this combining of West Hill and Stamford has made for a nice little Division III team, and they're having a good run this year. And as I said, they sit in the number 2 spot in Division III, and our thanks to CTHS Hockey Scores for all that information. A few more things to do as we wrap up this edition of Nutmeg for a Tuesday, and we'll come back and do so right after this. You're watching Nutmeg Sports on the HAN Network.
Denali is your outdoor retail destination in the Westfield Trumbull Mall. For the last 21 years, we have carefully selected clothing, footwear, and gear from a variety of the best outdoor brands, such as the North Face, Patagonia, Vineyard Vines, UGG, Merrell, GoPro, New Balance, and many more. Our stores have a friendly, knowledgeable staff to help you with all of your running, hiking, and cold weather needs, and in discovering all things outdoorsy and awesome. Visit us in the Westfield Trumbull Mall or online at denalioutdoor.com.
When you experience a sports injury, you want to get better and fast. Coastal Ortho Express gives you direct access to orthopedic care quickly. Their physicians are fellowship trained in sports medicine at world-class universities and are also team doctors for area football teams. For specialized personal care of sports injuries, go to Coastal Ortho Express. Open Monday through Saturday in the iPark building, 761 Main Avenue in Norwalk, or coastalorthoexpress.com. Coastal Orthopedics, keeping you on the move.
Do you do a lot of running around but get nowhere when you're buying a car? Visit Pamby Chrysler Jeep Dodge and Ram for the one-stop buying experience and stop spinning your wheels.
It's the new year. The to-do list is long and it's easy to feel pulled in many directions at once. Your professional personal shoppers at Walter Stewart's are ready to check groceries off your list by shopping for you. Save extra time this year and spend it doing more important things. Great food and wine delivered to your home with the same-day service. Shop Stewart's online at stewartsmarket.com.
I'm John Kovach. I'm a newspaper editor. I'm a high school football coach. I'm a television presenter, and I want you to love fishing as much as I do. Tune in to Yankee Fisherman, Thursdays at 1 on the HAN Network. It's like going to the tackle shop without leaving your office.
Welcome back to Nutmeg Sports. I'm Rob Adams. Donald Eng with the week off. We do miss my partner in crime. Dave Stewart in tomorrow to keep me company. Looking like Rich Buellin will join us tomorrow. Among the other guests we have coming up, I was in touch today with Jay Jimmer DeVito, the fine basketball player for the Stanford Black Knights. Thought it'd be fun to have him on. In fact, I saw the other Jimmer, the one that is now playing down at Westchester for the Westchester Knicks, was on the Dan Patrick Show today. So Jimmer Fredette, who in fact was the D-League most valuable player of their All-Star game. So we thought we'd have our Jimmer, the FCAC Jimmer, come on the show. So we're working that out with him. Hopefully have him on either via phone, or he even thought about possibly coming up and saying hello. He is one of the nominees for the FCAC Athlete of the Week this week, and the voters, you got some work to do. I know it's a little bit of a holiday week, a lot of schools closed and all, but nonetheless, you've got Jay DeVito way down with 2% of the vote right now. But the leaders, sorry Jay, I don't mean to throw you under the bus like that, but Connor Harkins of Greenwich Basketball has 45%, Giacomo Brancato with 37%, and Will Arliss from New Canaan Wrestling in third place with 9% of the vote. But again, not a lot of votes early on, so let's get the voting going out there at this time. For the Female Athlete of the Week, a big lead right now for Enares de Jesus of Greenwich Gymnastics. She has 55% of the vote, and that is 40 points higher than Jessica Ezelin of Greenwich Ice Hockey. She has 15% of the vote. So there you go. There is your job. Go out and vote for these fine athletes. We will announce the winners next Monday. To finish the show today, I want to make sure we go over the upcoming schedule because there is a lot to do here on the HAN Network and a lot of games. The next one, as I've mentioned to you a few times, is tomorrow at 4 o'clock right here as Greenwich and Darien play at the Darien Ice Rink. And again, it is now turned into basically the battle for the 1 seed in boys FCAC hockey. Would be amazing considering Darien has basically had it from wire to wire if the Cardinals can step in and sneak away with it. But we will see. 4 o'clock tomorrow here on the HAN Network from the Darien Ice Rink. That sets us up for a few days off. In fact, a few of us will be out of town, and there will be, just a little bit of a break for everyone. Then we'll be back with you on Tuesday. It's girls basketball, and it's the FCAC semifinals. Quarterfinals this weekend. The semis come up on Tuesday at Fairfield Ludlow. Games at 6 and 7:30. We will have it for you. Semifinals. Wednesday, switch gears over to girls ice hockey. Semifinals again. This time scheduled for the Darien Ice Rink at 6 and 7:40. That is on Wednesday, the 24th. Over to Thursday, the 25th at Fairfield Ludlow High School. It is the FCAC Girls Basketball Championship. Remember, we saw Greenwich and Ridgefield play a wonderful game last year. Be fun to see who shows up this year, and I think it's pretty wide open right now, especially with Fairfield Ward having taken that loss last week. Stanford's in the mix. Still got to like Ridgefield. Still got to like Greenwich. Got the great Abby Wolf doing her thing down at Greenwich High School. I think it's going to be a good tournament there. Final will be Thursday the 25th, next Thursday. That's at Fairfield Ludlow at 7 o'clock. Then comes Saturday, and that is your hockey bonanza. You love high school ice hockey, you will love Saturday the 27th. And oh, by the way, they will play these games until it is over. No ties. Game number 1, the Girls Ice Hockey FCAC Championship, 12:50 on Saturday the 27th. That is the Girls FCAC Championship at Terry Connors Rink, 12:50 Saturday the 27th. A few hours later, after they have gotten all the medals off the ice and all the equipment has been tossed around and the hugs have been given out, along come the boys. The quarterfinals, or as they're known, the playdown games. They are quarterfinals in that they are basically, the top 2 get byes. They're playdowns in that the top 2 get byes. So pick your terminology. We're using quarterfinals. 3 o'clock game number 1, 5 o'clock for game number 2 on Saturday the 27th. Over to Tuesday, March 1st. We will have boys basketball in the FCAC semifinals. Game number 1 at 6 at Fairfield Ward. Game number 2 at Fairfield Ward at 7:30 for boys basketball and the semifinals. Then to Wednesday, March 2nd, it's the FCAC boys ice hockey semifinals. I do hope you're taking notes. There will be a quiz. Game number 1 at 4, game number 2 at 6:30. The winners move on to the FCAC Championship. On to March 3rd, Boys Basketball FCAC Championship at Fairfield Ward. That will be at 7 o'clock. We will be there. We will have the broadcast for you of the FCAC Championship. I believe that'll be the 3rd year in a row we've brought it to you. And finally, March 5th, the Boys Ice Hockey FCAC Championship, 3 o'clock from Terry Connors Rink. And as of right now, that's the way the schedule lines up. Can there be something here or there? I hope so. Let's put it that way. So with all that said, it will be a busy couple of weeks for us. We're excited to do it. And right around March 6th, you will hear bodies just go kerplunk because we will all take a much-needed break. That'll do it for Nutmeg Sports. Thanks for sticking with me today on this Tuesday. Dave Stewart in tomorrow. Hopefully Rich Buellin, the head girls ice hockey coach from New Canaan High School, will join us as well. My thanks to Eric Gendron for tickling the ivories across the way. For all of us here at the HAN Network, I'm Rob Adams. Kate Chaplinsky and Coffee Break start your day tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock. But for now, enjoy your night. So long, everyone.